back to my YouTube channel. My name is Guguletu Sihlali, better known as Guguletu Sihlali. This is the purple corner where we create wealth with wisdom. Tomorrow, or in a couple of hours, I turn 21. I don't think I was as excited about this, but I just am realizing with the pandemic and everything just how fragile life is and just how important it is to celebrate milestones. So I'm going to do 20 lessons I learned by 20 or at 20 or for the 20 years that I've been living. So number one, you come back to yourself, and the least you can do is make sure you come back to someone and not a ghost. So I think I've realized just how we think it's so important to make sure that people around us are happy, or we just are in a space where we've glorified the happiness of everyone else except for ours, or just fixing people or everything, and we don't realize that we need to do that for ourselves a bit more than what we do for other people. So because at the end of the day, you come back home to yourself, you can groove with your friends, you can be nice with everyone else, but at the end of the day, you come back to yourself. Lesson number two is it is necessary and important to start getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. I think for a long time, so I've just been in the space where obviously we need to get comfortable with the uncomfortable, but I think for the longest time I've been struggling with the uncomfortable because I'm just realizing that it's undesirable there, the uncomfortable, but it's so important, and I'm so grateful for this reminder because I even had forgotten about the fact that I need to also get comfortable with the uncomfortable until I sat down and I started filming this or preparing for this particular film. So I think we just need to get into the space where we normalize the uncomfortable. So the uncomfortable is not sitting in situations where it's just horrible, but the uncomfortable is just being able to allow yourself to do uncomfortable or unconventional things. So dealing with your healing, leaving situations that don't benefit you, because those situations, that is very uncomfortable because it seems like comfort at the time, you know. So yeah, lesson number three, relationships should be organic and not an obligation. So I think for a long time I was just under the impression that I have to have friends, everything should happen, and I think I've gotten myself in a couple of relationships that I should have never, because of the feeling of importance or obligation to be surrounded by the nature of relationships. So it really just should be something organic, our energies should connect, things should just hlangan. But yeah, number four, what, this is the most important. I'm going to say it at this is going to be my last lesson. But number four, how you see it is how you treat it. So call it what it is. So if you are still seeing, like, for example, your situation, as you, for example, married people would say they're staying for the kids, right? If you're still seeing things like that, you're going to treat it a specific way. So you're going to be more tolerable over things, right? But how you're seeing it is not really how it's supposed to be, right? So staying in a marriage that is, or in a situation that is not benefiting yourself for other people's purposes is very detrimental. Because, for example, case in point, if you stay in a horrible toxic marriage for the kids, you don't know how much damage you cause for the kids that you're staying for, right? So always and forever treat things as, like, call it a spade in order for you to be able to give it the right diagnosis. Imagine going to the doctor with a sinusitis and the doctor says your foot is sore. Your sinusitis is never going to get better. So how you see it is how you treat it. Number five, life hurdles don't take away my liberty to choice. So obviously some circumstances will take away your choice, right? And which is obviously the inevitable and just things that we can't let go of. But I think for a long time we've just normalized the fact that because of the situation that I'm in, I can't choose. But I'm just coming to understand that I always and forever have a choice. I went out for lunch the other day with one of my friends, and my friend works, right? And we got to this other plant store, and she asked if they have holiday vacancies. And I think that was the point that I recognized that I still have a choice. I am a student, I want to be employed, but I don't go around getting what it is that I want. And I've made the choice just to believe that these opportunities aren't coming to me, but I'm also not working as hard. So I think it is important to, as often as you can and as life allows you, exercise your choice. Lesson number 6: there is a consequence for every single decision I make. It's just that simple. And I don't think we recognize that, because when we make decisions, we're just like, I have to make the decision in the moment. But we don't allow ourselves to live in the consequences that come with that particular decision, which are very important, because cool, you've made a decision, but what now? You know? So every single decision you make has a consequence. Lesson number 8, I think. No, we're on 8 or 9. I don't know. Friendship intimacy is a thing, and friendship soulmate. I am pro friendships. I live by the testament of friendships, but I think just I was okay with society telling me that I cannot have an intimacy, because intimacies aren't only restricted to sexual intimacy, but non-sexual intimacy cannot exist within my friendships. But I'm okay with it now. I practice it, I live it, you know. And some of my soulmates are definitely my friends, and that makes me so happy, you know. So friendships, friendship intimacy is a thing, and friendship soulmates. Lesson number 10: I am valid, my existence is valid, and my feelings are valid. Validity doesn't necessitate correctness. So I went through a phase now during lockdown where I just recognized that I invalidated a lot of my experiences, my life existence and all. So in validating myself, I also needed to recognize that my validity or of my existence, of the situation, of everything, does not necessitate correctness. So however I feel in a situation, it's definitely valid always and forever, but it doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. Your validity doesn't make, or validity is not equivalent to right or wrong. So I think that's also important, because we're just all about it's valid, you're valid, valid, but we don't recognize that validity is obviously it's contextual to the situation and for the person's life, and also doesn't necessitate correctness or rightness in this particular instance. Sorry, my voice. Okay, number 11: being okay if it happens and being okay if it doesn't happen is a very powerful place to be. This has been so important, because I just think for a long time, or not for a long time, I say for a long time a lot, but we are just in a space as people where imagine if like a baboon comes here and sits with me and I can't see it. He's so shown content creation. But so we were speaking about being okay. So for a long time, like for forever, we've just normalized the culture of like because marriages are so horrible, or because that's not what people are subscribing to, or that's not what's trending, people should not desire specific things, right? But like we'll just find that people will desire things just a bit too much or whatever. But I always believe in a balance, you know. So I think being okay with things, like being okay with you desiring something and it not happening, is a very powerful position, because that is where the balance exists, right? You can want, like, I wholeheartedly want to be married with my 5 kids. That's obviously for now. I can change my mind and have a husband, but if it doesn't happen, I'm not going to slit my wrist, or I'm not going to feel any indifferent about myself or feel like a failure. And that has just been the most important equilibrium of my life, because it's allowed me to recognize that I can desire things for as long as I want, and at a point in which those desires change or those desires don't happen, life has to and will always move on, you know. So that was very important. Okay, and number 12 is it's absolutely okay to start all over again. Oh my word, this year was everything for me, was just about starting all over. I think I restarted like 5 of my friendships. This year for me was just a reset button, because the person that I have chosen to be in this moment of my life requires for me to change specific dynamics of my friendships, requires for me to change a lot of things, you know. So I think in that realization that the Gugu that I've given birth to now requires a lot of change, it's been important in enabling or enacting or assisting me to being okay with starting all over again, you know. So that for me was very important, that it's honestly okay to start all over again. Your relationship is not working out, that's fine. You can hit the reset button to either reset the relationship or reset to go get into a new relationship or find yourself, so that you can start all over again. Your job is not working out for you, do it again. But I think what's important, and the biggest lesson I've learned from my gran, is that it's so important just to be in that space in our lives where we just recognize that we need to plan exit plans. So if you're going to get a new job or you want to quit your job, work on an exit plan so that you can, you know, like, okay, I'm exiting, I'm leaving the space, so where to from here? Lesson number 13. Friends aren't the beginning and end of the world. They are a choice. So in as much as friendship is very important for me, remember we spoke about reaching an equilibrium or an equal point. In as much as friendships rather are important for me, it's also very important for me to recognize in the same breath that friendships aren't as important. You know, I'm making the choice to engage in this friendship. I'm not at the mercy of this friendship or relationship as well. You know, I'm good. I'm an individual. I am a full and whole individual. And if I am choosing to add you in my life, that is my choice. Just because you exist in my life doesn't mean my life begins and ends with you. It doesn't mean that my life will come to a crash when you cannot pitch for specific plans or you can't show up for me. It's just I've chosen to have you in my life, and so I should treat you accordingly. So don't be rude to your friendships. So or you know, but just also always be cognizant of the fact that this is the choice. You've made the choice to be in a friendship with this person, and so you're not at the mercy of this person. Whether you're in a relationship, whether you're in anything, you have actively made this choice, and so treat it like that. So lesson number 14, my love can never fix what it didn't break. So for a long time, like, and as people, when we in a healing journey, we romanticize the idea of love yourself. You know, someone can come into your life and break you, or you know, a lot of things can happen. You can be broken from childhood traumas, and people will just shove down this love narrative down your throat. However, it doesn't that throwing or shoving down of this narrative down our throat doesn't come with the disclaimer that this love that you're giving for yourself is not for the purposes of fixing, but for the purposes of allowing you to be whole, for you to fill yourself, right? And that also just counts for people that you have in your life, your parents, your friends, your partner, everything. There's nothing that your love can do, and also your love also cannot necessarily fix what it broke, you know. Love isn't for the mending, right? Love does sometimes heal, right? But it isn't required, or it isn't the glue that's missing to put back the pieces together. But it can heal, right? So I think it's very important that we just recognize that your love for yourself will not put the pieces that are broken together. It's just there to assist in the healing or the fixing, or to enable that journey. Lesson number 15. Number 14, I think 15, I don't know. Just start. This is what 2020 was for me. We shy away from starting and whatever, and we don't realize that we don't know until we're in the situation. The worst outcome of things is a no or a rejection, and the best outcome of things is an acceptance or a yes. So just start and we'll see things in the front. The next one, discernment is so important, and pray for it. So we can be wise, we can be smart, we can be knowledgeable, we can be everything that we wish to be, we can be everything that we want to be, we can be everything that we require ourselves to be. But if we have no ability to discern, then everything's just so fruitless. So I could have the wisdom to or I can have the ability to be able to read energies, but if I don't pray for the discernment, or I don't have the discernment to know how to deal with the energies or how to accept or reject the energies, then my knowledge means nothing. So pray for discernment, and always try and be in tune with your discernment. The next one, it is so important to acknowledge and celebrate the start in order to see the development towards the end, and therefore celebrate the end. We glorify success, and the society that we currently live in is very much about fast culture success. Things need to be in the bigger picture and everything, and we don't realize that the smaller picture wholeheartedly creates the bigger picture. So when you are starting a business, celebrate the first profits that you make, because the first profits that you make are going to make sure that your business gets to greater heights, right? So it's very important to celebrate. Please celebrate. You got a distinction for a module at school, celebrate. You got a distinction for a subject at school, celebrate. You were able to show up for yourself that day, celebrate. Because every single thing makes or is the makeup of the bigger picture or the bigger you. So celebrate. The next one, always pack light, my brother. Always pack light, my sister. So pack light is not really, like, people don't really ever know what pack light is. But pack light, or packing light, I know we just came for a trip now, and I said to everyone, pack light. And they definitely didn't do any of that. But you could see that we didn't pack light, in not just in a literal sense, but in a figurative sense as well. Because when we got here, we weren't impressed with the place, and all we did was we nurtured that feeling because we didn't pack light. So packing light is just the ability to, the world is already such a heavy place. You don't want to come with your baggage, and now it's just the world being heavy and your baggage is also heavy. So pack light because you want everything to be seamless for yourself. So in every situation that you go into, allow yourself to pack light. So sometimes packing light looks like dealing with your past traumas, your childhood traumas. Sometimes packing light is dealing with things that you're facing. Sometimes packing light is allowing yourself to say, you know what, I'm in this situation now, and what is it that I'm going to do in order for myself to allow myself to move to the next part of this. So please pack light. It's so important. I can't stress it enough. Like, I can never ever stress enough how important it is to pack light. The next lesson is, sometimes it's really not that deep, and I made things deep for I couldn't have made things deep for about the first 10 years of my life, because I was just a child. What did I know about deep? But from, let's say, grade 6-ish until 2019, I was just okay with making things deep. Like, sometimes it's really not that deep, sometimes it's really not about you. Don't have main character syndrome. It won't it won't do anything for you. But sometimes it's really not just deep. The oven isn't working. Yeah, it's not that deep. Buy electricity. Get somebody to come fix it. You know. Just allow yourself to revel in just the lightness of life as well, because I think we're also just accustomed to life throwing such heavy things at us that we are okay with everything being deep. Sometimes life really will just pass you 2 or 3 good things and allow that, you know. The next lesson, second last one, is doing other people how they did you will always leave you feeling worse than what you did when they did you wrong. You know what? This treating people how they treat you culture has been glorified for so long that we don't recognize it, right? So people come into your life, they do you wrong, they do you dirty. That takes away from you. You go and you go treat them dirty. You reach the bottom, you petty. But that also takes from you, because that's not who you are, right? Okay, obviously some people are dirty pigs or petty, you know, and that's okay. Obviously it's not going to take from them, but be true to yourself at the center, or at your core being. Be true to yourself. If this is not who you are, the Bible says when someone slaps your right cheek, give them your left cheek, for those exact reasons, because you're going to give someone your hand and you're going to have to go back to your place. You're going to have to deal with your 5 finger from the slap that they gave you, and you're also going to have to deal with your emotions of treating people how they did you. So it's really not worth it. Walk away, you know, especially with men. If you have like an opportunity to do the bare minimum for men, do it all the time. And if you have an opportunity to do even less than bare minimum, go for it. For men, do it. For dirty pigs, do it, you know. And the last but definitely not least, I think this for me is the most important one, and I can never ever stress it enough. And also there's just no explanation for it, because I think it means something different to each of our different lives, you know. So I'm just gonna say it and then I'm gonna close off. But I hope everything that we've spoken about in this video will contribute to someone's life. And yeah, happy birthday to me. 21 years around the sun. It's been so fruitful, it's been so wholesome. I've allowed myself to get to the point that I've reached, and I will always and forever be grateful to God and to myself, and of course my parents, my friends, shout out. But our expectations of other people are binded to ourselves and are wholeheartedly outside of their reality. And that's just that. I'm going to leave you with that, and I'm going to ask you to meditate on that specific quote. And let's have chats. Please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe.